What if I told you that one African country didn't just gain independence, it sparked a wildfire across an entire continent? In 1957, one nation broke the chains of colonial rule, and within just a few years, over 30 African countries followed. But here's the hidden truth. Independence didn't start in 1957. It started with educated elites. It grew with radical youth movements. It exploded with strikes, boycotts, prison sentences, and one powerful speech that shook the world. This is the story of Ghana, the first Sub-Saharan African country to gain independence from colonial rule. And this is a Fast African Fact. Welcome to Fast African Facts, where we uncover the history they didn't teach you about Africa. If you love powerful African stories, untold history, and hidden truths, subscribe now and join the movement.
Let's
go back to the Gold Coast. Before it was called Ghana, it was known as the Gold Coast, a British colony rich in gold, cocoa, timber, and human labor. For over 100 years, Britain controlled the economy, the government, the military, the education system. Africans had very little political power. But change was brewing. In 1947, a political group called the United Gold Coast Convention, UGCC, was formed. Their goal? Self-government? But gradually, they wanted independence, but within the British system. And then they hired a man who would change everything. That man was Kwame Nkrumah. Educated in the United States and the United Kingdom, Nkrumah returned to the Gold Coast in 1947, filled with revolutionary ideas. But here's the twist. He didn't want gradual independence. He wanted self-government now. This created tension inside the UGCC. After riots broke out in 1948, Nkrumah was arrested by the British along with other leaders. But prison only made him more popular. In 1949, he broke away and formed a new political party, the Convention People's Party, CPP. And their slogan was simple: self-government now, no delay, no negotiation. The CPP didn't just rely on elites. They mobilized market women workers, farmers, youth trade unions. This was grassroots political revolution. In 1950, Nkrumah launched positive action, strikes, and civil disobedience against British rule. He was arrested again. But something shocking happened in 1951. Even while in prison, Nkrumah's party won the national elections. The British had no choice. They released him. He became leader of government business. The beginning of the end of colonial rule had started. On March 6, 1957, at midnight, the Gold Coast became Ghana, the first Sub-Saharan African country to gain independence from colonial rule. The ceremony took place at what is today known as Independence Square. Thousands gathered. And then Nkrumah delivered one of the most powerful speeches in African history. Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. But he didn't stop there, he said. The independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of Africa. That statement changed the continent. Ghana's independence was not just national, it was Pan-African. After Ghana gained independence in 1957, something incredible happened. Within just a few years, Nigeria gained independence, 1960 Senegal, 1960 Congo, 1960 Tanzania, 1961 Kenya, 1963 Ghana became the blueprint. African leaders visited Accra for inspiration. Nkrumah supported liberation movements financially and politically. Ghana became the headquarters of African freedom movements. But here's the hidden truth. Independence did not mean economic freedom. Colonial systems were gone politically. But economically, many African nations still depended on former colonial powers. This is where the real struggle began. What most history books don't emphasize, Ghana's independence was not just about removing Britain. It was about African dignity. It restored confidence. It proved Africa could govern itself. But it also revealed challenges: political instability, economic dependency, Cold War interference, internal power struggles. In 1966, Nkrumah was overthrown in a coup while abroad, yet his legacy remains powerful. Ghana still celebrates March 6th every year as Independence Day. And Independence Square still stands as a symbol of African pride. So when people ask, what was the first Sub-Saharan African country to gain independence? The answer is simple: Ghana, 1957. But the deeper answer was the spark that lit a continent. this was not just a political event, it was a psychological revolution. A statement to the world: Africa is not a colony. Africa is a continent of nations. And that is a fast African fact. If you enjoyed this story and want more powerful, untold African history, subscribe to Fast African Facts. We post weekly stories that challenge narratives and reveal hidden truths about Africa's past and future. Comment below, which African country gained independence next after Ghana? Share this video because African history deserves to be told. See you in the next one.